Well, welcome back to the GSL up and down matches where we have had some very exciting games so far. Our next match will be our second and final Killer against Brown, but before we see that, we'll take a look at our results here so far. Huck going 2-0, currently being the leader in the group, something that nobody really expected.
Very impressive games by Huck so far, especially the game on Crossfire with an amazing hold against an all-in strategy by Lucky. He did so well. That for quite a while, those cannons doing a ton of damage before the probes finished the job. Well done. Yeah, Lucky therefore on 1-1. The same score that Brown currently has on Killer as well.
Yep. So very important match for these two players. One of them wants to pull ahead. Killer seems to be very calm right now. And the same could be said of Brown, really. He's actually, looks like he's a bit impatient, wants to get going. They're both doing some spamming in the chat. Looks like they're both really ready to go. So we're going to be jumping into the game very soon. It is, of course, Cloud Kingdom.
Killer looking a little bit intense here.
Yeah, actually he is a little bit. Looks like he's ready to go. The countdown is finished. Only one of these Protosses will take a lead in the group. And our final PvP, who will it be? Will it be Huck or will it be Killer? Actually, take it back. We have another PvP after this. Just disregard what I said. There's 3 Protosses in this group at the GSL up and down matches.
We are on Cloud Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen. We have another Protoss versus Protoss, and the Protoss player starting in the red color today is the Complexity player. It is
Complexity Killer.
I actually have to hope a little bit that Killer is getting one of the Code spots. He was mentioning just a week ago that he wants to go partying as soon as up and down matches are done, and I guess if he gets a Code spot, he'll be paying.
And here is
Slayers Brown.
Slayers Brown.
Slayers Brown, Killer's opponent today. And the thing is that we always talk about how Killer is shaky in Protoss versus Protoss, and last season this was definitely true. He lost every single match against Protoss. It was really, really sometimes painful to watch because he said himself, against Protoss, I'm just feeling so uncomfortable and I lose every single game. But lately he has done a lot better. He was able to win a lot of his PvP matches lately, and the interesting thing is that he won a best of 3 against Brown in last season's Code A with 2-1, so they definitely know each other. Cloud Kingdom was not part of the best of 3 back then, but it's gonna be very, very interesting if Brown is still a little bit, well, affected by it, affected by the knowledge that he already lost in a best of 3 against Killer, or if he just does not care. We'll see if Killer can repeat his victory over Brown, and this would put him at 2-1. Both of these players are on a 1-1 score right now, so they definitely need a win.
Yeah, whoever wins this pulls ahead, and you can see that the win percentage on this map is not actually a significant stat in this case. It's such a new map. See a little bit of harassment here by Killer as he sends an early scout. He does not see the second pylon. That may stress him out a little bit. He's going to find it very soon, though, if he goes around the bottom of his opponent's base. That pylon's actually put in kind of a precarious position because later on he will be able to pick that off, perhaps if he gets an observer out. Second gas goes down. That's going to make Killer feel a lot more comfortable. And he will actually, in fact, take his own gas. He doesn't get blocked. Close call there. Very even openings for both players. The much faster Cybernetics core, though, for Brown. He's chrono boosting it. He has 50 chrono energy saved up. Killer himself, though, had 75, and now he's using his first chrono on his work and research as well. Maybe some mind games going on here, but I think both players are going to actually tech up at this point.
I have not seen too many PvPs on this map, to tell you the truth. Have you had a little bit more experience with the Protoss versus Protoss on Cloud Kingdom?
Oh, in Cloud Kingdom, it's a map I have not seen very much as well, but the thing is, the expansion is actually a little bit more difficult to hold on this map because of the way that it kind of your units can funnel in. The Colossi can be really strong on this map against the expansion. There's no way to really circumvent the area because it's such a choke point that you can't like blink around and try to get a flank on the Colossi or anything like that. there is a really wide open area on the high ground. You can see where that pylon has been placed up at the top there. That area is an area you can defend on the high ground against pushes, but it's not as useful as you might think. Both players going for a robo now, so we basically have identical build orders, and it's all going to come down to who chooses what next and how it's executed.
Yeah, it's really going to be interesting, especially with the mind games going on between these two players. And they have, well, I haven't actually casted or seen the games between Killer and Braun in Code A, but this is going to be pretty interesting. And here we have Braun immediately going for the Twilight Council, so we might just as well see a blink upgrade now, and with one observer trying to blink onto the high ground. And here, the Twilight Council also for Killer. So as Wolf just said, we have identical builds for both of them.
Yep.
Which a little bit of different timings, but
this is so epic when these two builds collide, man, when both players go like this. This is actually for a period of time, and it was right after I came to Korea. Every PvP was like this. Everyone went Blink Stalker Immortal, and it was like, who makes the Nexus first? And if the person makes the Nexus before me, how do I attack it? Do I kill him? Or do I make my own Nexus? It's so scary. It's always 4 gateways, Blink, and Immortals out of the Robo, depending on what you scout of your opponent. Once he scouts, his opponent is also going Blink, then he starts Immortals, and this can be so epic. It all comes down to micro and decision making. This is the real chess game of PvP. When both players go for the exact same builds, things get crazy.
This is exactly the type of game that I really love in PvP, because it's just so micro intensive, and that's just one wrong blink and you suddenly like lose the entire game. If there are Immortals involved and you blink into the wrong spot, suddenly you're attacked by Immortals from 2 sides and you lose most of your Stalkers before the engagement really started. But with all these Blink Stalkers, they can just blink individual Stalkers, and wow, this is actually really huge. Taking down the observer of his opponent, and this is so annoying now.
Yeah, and his Blink is slightly ahead, but he won't really be able to use it since he's not quite sure what his opponent is doing. By the time he gets there, Killer will have Blink as well. And no Immortals for either players just yet, just simply increasing their Stalker count. Braun a little bit ahead though in Stalker count. Killer warping in 3 more though to even things up. With his next Observer he has out, he should be able to spot his opponent's Observer as it comes across the map.
Braun is getting aggressive.
This is so funny. Killer's actually playing defensively. I think he reads the situation. And Braun, if he blinks in here, he's going to regret it. Oh, he's going to do it too. And now Killer can actually damage and then chase.
He just can't blink in. He has more Stalkers than his opponent. He can blink in and he does. He blinks in, takes down 2 or 3 Stalkers immediately. Well played so far by Killer.
Nice trap. He knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah, he did. Season opportunity, blinks in, and ooh.
A Zealot for Killer. The only Zealot in the mix that he made initially at the very beginning of the game is going to go and do some harassment here. Maybe he'll target down a Sentry.
Braun got a bloody nose here and needs to retreat now, which is exactly what he does.
This gives Killer the opportunity to expand if he wants to, but it's so hard to do that in this situation where both players have gone Blink.
The Zealot not doing anything. Well, he took down at least one of the probes.
Yeah. Not that significant considering his opponent's at greater than full saturation, and he's not going to take an expand anytime soon.
Killer just warped in 4 additional Stalkers. He's now getting a little bit more aggressive.
9, and he killed some of his opponent's Stalkers, and his opponent warped in some Zealots and a Sentry to be defensive, so his Stalker count is now almost twice that of his opponent. So scary.
Second pylon is now being killed. Braun supply blocks
him. Oh, Braun is in a lot of trouble right now. He's going to try to circumvent Killer's Stalkers. He's now sending his own Zealot in for harassment, but Killer's already got a unit prepared for this.
Yeah, warps in the Stalker and has another one on the way. We have the first Immortal for Braun. He's trying to go for the Immortal play now, but this is really annoying for Braun at this point in time. Killer with a huge amount of Stalkers and Braun just trying to get some Immortals into the picture in order to deal with them.
Notice no one feels comfortable taking an expand. With any lead or any composition they've made, it's just so scary to expand. Nobody wants to do it. The Stalker count getting out of control for Killer, 21 to 12.
Killer's also slightly ahead in, in probes. He's on 30 against 27, but still on 1 base, so that does not help him all that much. The income is about even.
Yep. So Killer's going to move out now. He may want to expand behind this, but it looks like he's bringing a probe with him, wants to put some serious pressure on. With his opponent having 2 Immortals, though, he won't be able to break this, and he may even become behind as a result. Okay, so Braun is going to be the one to make the bold move here. He knows the Stalkers are coming to. He's going to move his Stalker into position. But again, for this reason, it's It's going to be tough to attack into this choke point depending on how the units are positioned.
He has so many Stalkers. He has 25 Stalkers. He can just blink in and take down the Immortals, to be honest. But he uses his blink defensively, just blinks back every single time the Immortals hit. And Killer is doing a nice job. 75 supply against 61 is taking down unit after unit. Brown is doing Stalkers and Immortals. Whoa, this is so well played by Killer, warping in additional Stalkers right now, and I think he's kind of overpowering Brown here.
Yep, and Brown blinks in. He did kill Killer's Observers, so he can defend the high ground here a little bit longer, but not for very long.
The expansion has been cancelled. Another pylon dies at the bottom, actually 2 of them do.
Yep. Brown in a little bit of trouble now. I don't like Killer's choice to blink up here, but
he can afford it. He just has the numbers, and he is taking Brown on, and Brown dropping in supply, losing Stalker after Stalker.
Not even blink microing, and Killer will just end the game here, being very bold with his decisions. Takes Brown out. GG. Brown goes 0 and
1 and 2.
0 and 2 in PvPs, but 1 and 2 overall.
Killer with 2 wins and only 1 loss so far.
Yep.
Yeah, well played. He just completely had the numbers in order to do it, especially after the first engagement. The problem for Brown was he could not retreat without losing his Immortals, and as soon as the Immortals were gone, the huge Stalker count of Killer came once again into play.
I like the idea of defending in the concave from Brown and trying to hold his Nexus, but moving out like he did just did not make any sense. The Killer was like, oh, well, you're going to attack into me having a better concave outside of your base. We're very far away from any warpins you can use, and where I'm just going to blink defensively. He could have blinked on top, like you said, but his choice to blink defensively there with a better concave was just going to win him the fight no matter what. And then if his opponent retreated, he could just blink on top, so there was nothing to do. It was just, it was awful for Brown.
And as I said, you're perfectly right. Just using it defensively gave him the edge, because Brown he can't retreat.
He cannot.
He can't retreat because upon blinking away from his opponent or blinking to the top, he would suddenly lose those Immortals, and the Immortals were the key unit for Brown. As soon as he lost the 2 Immortals, Killer just had way more Blink Stalkers than his opponent, and this is what won him the game in the end. So very, very well played by Killer here.
Yeah, and also I think part of the problem for Brown was he decided to make a Nexus. That's something that most players in this matchup will never do in this situation. That's why Killer didn't make a Nexus. Most players will long-distance mine from their natural before they make a Nexus in this matchup when this goes on. It's just so risky to make a Nexus. You can't hide a Nexus. Your opponent has crazy mobility. You can't do that. You can't make a Nexus at your natural. It's just so risky for him to have done that. He lost a few Stalkers with his blink in, so I think that's why he felt like, well, I have to do this to get ahead. But with the Immortals he made, if he had defended at the natural where he had a better concave where Killer was trying to focus into that, it would have been okay, but he decided not to do that. And we're going to go into our next game between Virus and Lucky.
Exactly, Lucky against another Terran now. He had to face 1 turn already. Played on Entombed Valley against GG against OGS Finn, and won the match. Lucky is now 1-1 right now with his loss against Hawk. So this is important for the both of them, especially for Virus. Virus is on 2 losses, so this is kind of his last chance. If you have 2 losses and claim a bunch of wins, then you're still in a position where you can not only advance, but there might be a tie situation as well. But with 3 losses, it's kind of impossible to claim one of these Codas spots. So this is kind of the last chance for Virus to get into Codas. Lucky, on the other hand, needs a win as well. Let's see if he's able to get one.
Yeah, very, very important for these 2 players. The map is dual site, so it's going to be tough for Lucky, but we'll see what he can do here against Virus. This is the GSL up and downs with Caldor and Wolf. Don't go anywhere. The game is loaded. We'll be in it in just a moment.